The first person I want to introduce to you is BENEDIKT from XENTRAL, and he's going to tell you a little bit more about the future of ERPs, and particularly ERPs for small and medium-sized businesses. Over to you, BENEDIKT. I think you need the clicker.
Cool, super, thanks, nice. Then. Perfect. What are we doing here? XENTRAL, we have a different founding story. We had original own business, hardware business. We built and produced microcontroller boards, embedded systems, and we realized that we have too crazy work every day with managing our business. To reorder things, to write sales orders, write invoices, have everything over an overview in the warehouse, what happens there. And then we looked around what is there in the world, what could help us to make this easy and fun, and really what a modern company would like as a tool. And we realized that there are really only old, ugly, clunky software there in the world, and this is not what is a fit for us as a software company. And that's why we said, let's write this piece of software for ourselves. This was originally the idea. Then later, the people came to us and asked us, what type of software do you use there? We would also like to have this, because the people realized that we have a really smart piece of software what automatically reminds you, send emails to the right moment in the business journey to the customer, what happens with the sales order, with the goods. And we are waiting for suppliers that you send back, things and so on. And this really drives a lot of engagement for the first people who came to us and really understand what power you have when you have the right software in place, and you don't have to hire a lot of people who do manual work, task, whatever. It's, I think, big thing for every small company, because you normally have everything, but you don't have a lot of money and that you can hire a lot of people. You have to find ways that you can make this super smart and easy. What is our software? We have, we call it, it's an ERP. It's always question, is ERP for SMB the right word or not, but it describes it best as a software for business operations, really from order management, inventory management, procurement, payment, shipping, all the things what comes together. What for bigger companies normal that you have one software, it was not possible for smaller companies that you have really no one place where you can bring all the things together and have the great overview about the things. Additionally, what is also different to the old world is we live in a world where we can use a lot of tools and modern payments, services and so on, and that we have really a lot of integrations to a lot of cool, great business tools that you can easily really bring all together in one step without a lot of effort in engineering or whatever you normally would need in the old world. Typical customers, also we are at the moment working mostly in Germany. That's where we came from. We started first experiments also to go international. E-commerce businesses, really fast growing, but also normal growing e-commerce businesses. We like customers with B2B, B2C. When you have mixed business models, we make the life easier, because this is the tough challenge when you have different channels, and really will bring everything together in one place and have the overview over the things here. That's me. I'm really excited to be a part of the story, and we try to really make everything best that all the people around the world can feel the power of a modern SMB ERP software.
Awesome. Thank you so much, BENEDIKT. Next up, we'll be hearing from AUTOMAITED. They're using AI and RPA to automate a lot of the mundane and repetitive tasks that I think all of us know from the office. And it's my pleasure to hand over to Patrick, the first of the two Patricks on this panel, to talk a little bit about what they're doing.
Yeah. Seem to be a lot of Patricks here in the room today. So let me see, perfect. So I'm going to talk a little bit about how we are democratizing business process automation. And let me start a little bit differently than we normally would start. Probably some of you guys have seen pictures like this. These are called Rube Goldberg machines. And why am I showing this? This is a self-operating napkin. It's a machine designed to perform a very simple task in an overly complicated way. I mean, you see it here. It's really complex to build. It probably costs a lot of money if you do that in real life, and it's going to take a lot of time. And this is actually how process automation nowadays feels for a lot of businesses out there. And in the end, if you look into the market, and especially if you look into companies where you have a lot of non-technical people, you see that people feel that it's really hard to automate processes, and it takes a lot of time, right? If you try to automate and process end-to-end, it takes a really long time, and it's super hard for people. And probably if you then get external people to support, it's going to be really, really expensive, and you're going to write really big checks. So this is where we come in. We really want to avoid that we're only scratching the surface when it comes to process automation, and tackle all this complexity that's below the surface, which comes from highly individual tasks that everybody here in the room probably has. They're not documented, there's a lot of exceptions, and it's really painful, and that's why they don't work with all the standard tools that are out there. And in the end, let's take a step back and think about what does it take to automate a process. And it feels sometimes it sounds simpler than it is, but in the end, you need to think about what do I want to automate, right? And it's often something a user does, or you have a business analyst, or maybe use a tool for that, and it takes some time. Secondly, you need to write down what the automation should do, right? So what are the technical requirements? Somebody needs to write it down. You need to maybe also use a tool or a studio for that. Secondly, or thirdly actually, who's writing the code? Who's writing the automation? Who's building it, right? Either you have a studio, a plug and play, a couple of things, or an engineer is building something custom, getting really expensive. And then you need to deploy the automation and make sure that it's actually working on your device and doing what you want to do. This is really painful, and that's why it's also often very costly if you hire people. And what we do, in the end, we do it all with our solution, right? So we build an AI, a model that's basically taking all the studios, all the people out of the equation when it comes to automating processes. So you could say we automate the automation process. How this works is very simple. In the end, our system monitors the behavior of a user. This could be navigation, this could be entry of data, selecting a drop-down value. And this is how normally people enter and work on their daily basis. It's super annoying, every time the same stuff. And then after a few repetitive executions, actually our tool jumps in, right? So it's coming up with a process documentation saying, this is actually what we have recognized. Is this what you want to do? The user can still stay in control and give some input. And then the automation is built on the spot and actually directly deployed to the user. And then it's one click, and the magic happens, right? And with this, basically, we give access to process automation to everybody, especially people that are not technical, for all these highly individual processes that are out there. So in the end, we always say there's 4 key benefits when we talk to people. It's obviously very simple now. No knowledge, right? You just work and something happens. And with this, you have high value instantly because you don't need to wait for anything. It just pops up. You don't have to think about it. And especially important for our customers now is you don't need to work in a separate studio. It lives where you work, so you don't need to do anything in a studio or a tool. It's basically in your environment. And lastly, you can create massive time savings. And that's what we built. So thanks a lot for being here. Thanks a lot, Bobby, for the intro. Over to you.
Awesome. I think it's difficult to overstate how much time that's going to save people. I'm very much looking forward to seeing automated deployed in basically every company. So next up, we'll be hearing from LOXO. LOXO gives sales teams the ability to create private mini sites hosting all the information their prospects will need in one place. But Toby will tell you more about what exactly they're doing.
Perfect. So LOXO is the buyer experience platform. Essentially, we take all of the time-consuming work that the very best sales reps do to stand out in their deals, customizing slide decks, pulling together materials, creating action plans, and we automate it so that these things, these best practices, are not only being done by the 1 or 2 reps on your team, they're being done consistently for every single deal, every single rep across the board. And we do that by integrating a number of data sources, Salesforce, call recordings, your asset repository, even the sales leader's playbook, and then generating customer-facing sites which have everything that your buyers need in one place. And these become a resource which gets shared around amongst the buyer team. Now, I originally created the first version of LOXO when I was back at a company called Ironclad. I've been fortunate to join them as the first business hire back in 2016. I ended up moving over to London to open up the go-to-market effort for Ironclad here in Europe. And the challenge was, Ironclad is a legal tech product. We were selling into in-house lawyers, a really, really tough sell. Long, complicated, lots of stakeholders, highly competitive. I needed a way to stand out. And so I would spend my weekends creating personalized websites in Webflow. Different pages for the key stakeholders that were involved in the deal, creating action plans, creating videos to introduce myself. The response from the buyers was unbelievable. I had people coming to me and saying, we're choosing Ironclad because of your sales experience. If you sell like this, we can't wait to work with your customer success team. But then as I take a step back from this and I look at the rest of our reps, it's not scalable. It's not something that everyone is going to be delivering in every single deal. It's not a consistent and reliable motion. And so that's really the idea for LOXO. It's, can we productize this? Can we operationalize it? And that's what we've delivered. And you can see some of our customers up on the screen here. I love this quote. It's from someone that reached out to us just a couple of weeks ago. They're a competitor of Ironclad, and they said, look, we've lost 3 deals last quarter to Ironclad. When we asked the prospect why they chose Ironclad over us, they said it was on the strength of the sales and the buyer experience that Ironclad had created. So look, we're obviously in this sales, marketing, tech space. You're probably familiar with a bunch of other solutions, asset repositories, digital sales rooms, mutual action plans. There's a lot going on. But really, we have a view on 2 things in particular that need to be in place for a system like this to really work at scale across a company. Number 1 is you have to make this something that is easy, is effortless for every single rep to use in every deal. And so the key is automation. We think of this as co-pilot for reps. It should be effortless when they get off of a call, plug in the call recording to generate a personalized, tailored site just for their deal in a matter of seconds. We think of it a little bit like Tesla's full self-driving platform, where any input from the user is sort of suspect, and we want to eliminate that over time. Can we automate it? And so that's where the integrations come in that I mentioned, but also, of course, large language models increasingly. The other piece is, OK, so it works for reps. It's flexible and easy. But how do you get this working for the enablement team, for the marketing team, actually make this scalable? And we think of this as command and control for PMMs and marketers and enablement. We've created this incredible tree structure. It's really a first-of-its-kind version control system, so that when you need to update or change or add new content, you can do that in a single place, and you can see on a single pane of glass all of the templates and sites that this work is affecting. You can actually measure the impact of your work for the first time as a PMM. The critical piece that makes that work is what we call Git for sales. So if you think about it, you've got sales reps that need the flexibility to make edits and personalized changes to a site, but then you've got a marketing team that's coming in with new content. How do you deal with the merge there? Well, the old answer has been you either have outdated content that isn't changed, or you overwrite everything that the rep has done. We've created a third way. It's Git for sales. So it gives the sales rep an ability to merge their changes together, preserving the edits that they've made and also incorporating the latest content. It's the way that we strike this balance between flexibility and speed for reps on the one hand and visibility and control for marketing leadership and enablement on the other. So it's a quick introduction to LOXO. I'd be remiss not to say, if there are any heads of sales in the room and you are interested by anything I've said here, if you're looking to stand out with your buyer experience and make that scalable across the team, do let me know. Thanks so much.
Awesome. Thank you, Toby. I think it's pretty clear that this will be quite impactful for a lot of sales teams. Last but certainly not least, Patrick number 2 from WORKFLEX. No, I'm just joking. WORKFLEX's vision is to become the one-stop shop for HR and people compliance, focusing on business travel and workations to begin with. And that's what I think you're going to tell us a little bit more about now.
Yeah, thanks a lot. My name is Patrick. I'm one of the co-founders of WORKFLEX. and we support companies in making business travel and workations compliant. So before I get into it, I think all of us do some kind of business travel, but I do have a question for you. Who of you in the last 12 months has been on a so-called workation? So you temporarily work from another country, either to extend a vacation or visit family abroad. So I see some raising hands. Okay, and I think it shows the world is changing. But who of you is aware of compliance risk around this? Who has heard of tax risk, data protection, social security around it, labor law? So I think it's reached the masses. And so a lot of raising hands. And kind of what we see also with the clients that we support, they have a lot of people working abroad either for business trips or during vacations. But they have one big problem because they're struggling with compliance. They're paying lawyers a lot of money for this. They have very time-intensive processes. Because whenever an employee goes abroad, let it be just for one single day, you as an organization, you need to cover permanent establishment, employment tax, social security, health insurance, labor law, work entitlement, etc. So you think this is complex? Well, welcome to our world, and I make it more complex for you. The problem really is, whenever an employee goes abroad, it's an individual situation. So when I go from the UK to Spain, it's different when I go from the UK to Germany. Always depends on the country combination. From the compliance perspective, I also need to check what is my nationality, what is my position in the company. Depends on the number of days I go abroad. So I could go on for this forever. So there are millions of compliance scenarios. So this makes it super, super complex. And well, if you think compliance is expensive, try non-compliance. A lot of companies had to learn the hard way. Most recently, Bosch had to pay a 300 million fine. So compliance is complex, but well, luckily there is a WORKFLEX. What we do, we provide a software and we sell it to organizations and we make compliance very, very, very easy. So how it works is that within companies that use our product, every employee can go into our product, say I want to work from abroad, for example from Spain, answer a few questions, and we as WORKFLEX take care of all the compliance processes. So it's fully automated and the company don't need to worry about it. So I think the benefits are quite clear. Our clients say they reduce their compliance exposure significantly. They save a lot of time, up to 3 hours per trip. And also enabling employees to work from abroad is a huge benefit in employer branding. So really foster a modern work environment. So if you did have your hand raised before, or if you want to raise it again, please hit me up later. And thanks for that.
Thank you very much, Patrick. And with that, we're wrapping up our session. That won't be the last time you're hearing from these 4 fantastic companies. So watch them very closely. We're very, very honored to be working with you. And yeah, enjoy the rest of the evening.